the word I was looking for earlier was nursery rhyme. Just kind of had like this nursery rhyme type of vibe to it, and it's, you know, the old stories of, you know, nursery rhymes with witches and stuff. I that's kind of when I did the song, or when I remixed it, I was just like, this is what it reminds me of, and that's why I named it Witch Hunter. Originally, the song was 3/4 timing, and it was some piano piece I found actually in Logic, Apple Loops, and I converted it, changed it over to 4/4 time, and I thought, man, this would be really cool if I turned it into some kind of dubstep type vibe, and that's what I did. First thing is just like this neo bell, and this is something. Oh, that's weird, doing that. Must have got stuck on something. So this is something I sampled from a Chord Karma, and I had an EXB-MOSS board, and this is a type of board that you can buy, and it's like it's basically the same thing as a Korg Z1 with less polyphony, if that makes sense. I think what I was doing, I was going through some of the presets, and I'm like, man, this thing sounds really cool. And that's how I sampled it. And you know, just if we go in here into the mapping, you could see I did a lot of sampling. I just did note for note. I may have went overzealous with this thing, but and I put it into EXS24. And if we just play it by itself, it sounds like this. As if we kind of solo it out. And you can see I got compression, EQ. The EQ basically is just taking out some of the low end and lifting up some of the mid and taking out the high. And it's a typical bell sound, but it just had such a unique feature set to it. And then I put a delay and reverb to it. And if we just play it by itself, I think it sounds like this. Oh, there you go. Cool. No, this is just regular Steinway piano from Logic's thing. And I'm just putting a compressor and some EQ. The EQ on it is, you know, apparently there's certain frequency settings with some of these pianos that if you just knock it down, it actually makes it sound better. I haven't really fully tested this, but on this piano, I just started notching down some of the resonant frequencies, and hey, it worked. So that's kind of what's going on right here. And if we go in here and we just go, and it kind of has like this old Western vibe is kind of where I like about it. And if we put them together, same thing, you know, got reverb on the piano. If we go up here to these trance saws, this is kind of goes later down into the mix. And if we go in here, we've got the first one, and this is made with Nexus. I really like the new Nexus 3 Magnetron. And so what it is it's just a a lead, and then I'm compressing the hell out of it with the lead, like a sidechain type of compressor. It's LFO tool. I thought it was a compressor. And if we do that, you know, it's just basically what it's doing is just making room for this the kick. So that's what that's doing. That LFO tool, and that is on the bus. Now, here's something interesting. I don't know if you know this, but you can actually use, say, like if we go over here and we turn off LFO tool, this is a, you can actually make your own type of LFO gate with the function with this step FX. We turn it on. Made some settings in here, and I think it's this one that works. And what it is it says I just put a steep envelope in here, and then it's controlled by the gate. And if we do it like this, and you know all of them are on, and I think they're set to, was it 16? I can't remember. And so you could do something like that with the LFO. I saved it as a preset, so you know if you guys want that, I can. You can just copy this here, and it's pretty much you just everything here is just turned off, and the only thing that's being used is this gate mix, and then the LFO is you got this steep curve. It's kind of like that with those values, and then all these are just on, and I think it's that kind of works like the LFO tool. However, it's okay. I feel like the LFO. I like the LFO tool better because it has that view thing. And what I mean is so like if I'm playing something, it shows this in the view, and I can really dial it in real good. And this one's sort of similar, and I think this is made with ES2. And this one here. If I really like the ES2 synth, I can have a project and I can have like 100 of these things open, and my processing or DSP would be nothing. Right now, all these things are going off is because I'm running ScreenFlow. But yeah, that's what I hate about some of these newer synths, like Vital and Phase Plant. I mean, you chuck them in there, and oh my gosh, man, your CPU is just going off the charts. If I can find the same sound in ES2, then you know, well, why? You know, why should I, you know, torture my CPU processors with Phase Plant? And it's not just Phase Plant. You know, Vital. You know, even some instances of Serum, Contact 6. I've a combination of two things here. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but whatever. The issue is, look at this processor here. You know, this is like 24 cores, 24 processing threads that we got going on here. But the problem is when Logic is running and you have an instrument selected, it's going to focus on one single CPU core. Now, granted, I did see something in Diva. It's a new synth. Well, not new. It's made by He, and it has multi-threading and a little check mark that you could, you know, press, and then it'll enable multi-threading. Beating this dead horse here. Yeah, going back, you know, when I can use older synths, I use them. So all it is just a saw, dude. You know, you got unison, poly, and 8 voices, and I think you know, got some pitching or something like that. But you know, I took one preset and edited it. That's a lot of what I do. Tape delay. And what is this doing here? It's not even doing any delay. It's just giving some saturation. And how this is done, you just level this out, no delay, and then you just turn up the feedback, add some character, bring up the output and the wet at the same time, and you get some really nice grittiness. And then you add the bit crusher. It's adding some more grittiness. And then you add an EQ to take it off a little bit and bring up the highs. And you add some distortion, default, I think it's growl. Yeah, just mess with the dry and pre-grain. Everything's up to taste. Really brings it out. Brings out those highs. And then I think I had a limiter on this. I don't think this is really needed. Yeah, maybe. Because that distortion gets a little carried away. You could use a compressor on here and tame it down. Or you could use another EQ, whatever you want. So it makes a cool, gritty soul sound. And then when you layer it, see everything here, key is in layers. And if we go to this grouping, should be able to hear it. And we'll enable the LFO tool. Cool. Love it. And I love the C64, Commodore 64 sounds. When you add them to a mix, I just feel like it just adds something to it. I don't know. I can't explain it. Maybe it's just, I just love the old sound and I just love adding it to things. Would the normal person be able to pick it out? Probably not. The SID synth is massive, old massive. And let's take off all the effects. And I think if we just do it like that. Yeah, it definitely sounds like a speak and spell or something. All right. And, just tame it with the EQ and then add some delay and no sound. And it should be like that. You should have your delay first, then your reverb. Yeah, much better. Because what happens is your delay gets lost in the reverb, and it just doesn't work. Viola Plucks, which is really not Viola Plucks. I think it's Found You, and it's a pluck in Nexus, and it sounds like this. Really cool plucky sound, and if we just play it by itself. I love it. Just a tight, it's got everything I want. And we put the tame with the EQ, delay. Yeah, and what it is with MIDI, get this off here, is you got this going on. And I'll make all this available. I'll put links, and I'll also post this up on Patreon for you subscribers. And put delay, and now God, it's such an awesome sound. All right, in bird pluck, what is this? This is basically serum, and what's this sound like? All right, so it's a very detuned sound. No effects, and there's no reverb or anything like that. However, when you layer it in with a lot of this other stuff that has reverb and stuff like that, then you get a really cool layered. Because the cool thing about it is, like, by itself, it's really detuned, but it mixes really well, and it kind of adds that extra sauce that just makes it work. I don't know. I like it. I like doing something really detuned, and then layer it on with regular stuff. Cool. All right. We'll check that. All right, pads. Legato strings. One of the things I like to do is I like to add classical elements to my mixes. I think it just, I just love the classical sounds. And especially when you add it to electronic music, I just feel like it just gives it a nice balance. So that being said, there's legato strings. And then a church choir. What does this sound like? Now, the ducking sound is from this Step FX. I decided to use it on these pads, and it kind of gives this 1, 2, 3 step effects. And this is created in here. And it's kind of like a roll, gate roll. And it's on each one. I don't know. I like the vibe to it. I thought it was like, hey, this sounds really cool. And it just sounded really cool. And then if we put this one, Enigma pad, this is something I made. I sampled from Chord. All right. So another thing that you should know is use a lot of different reverbs. Experiment with using different reverbs for different sections. So like, for example, you'll see that I have, certain sections using different types of buses for reverbs. I don't like having everything just going into one reverb. I feel like that really muddies up things. So a lot of times I'll just break it up and I'll have, certain sections or just even one instrument just focused on one reverb. Bass madness. All right. How is this stuff made? All right. A lot of this was just focused on reverb, focused on Serum. And we got a limiter, and the very first one is this one with Serum. Really cool in-your-face type of sound using some experimental stuff in Serum. And I think it has a lot to do with the hyper and the phaser, and a lot of this stuff just going dimension, just really tweaking it out. If you guys are interested in how I made some of these sounds, yeah, sure, hit me up. I'll probably do something just focusing on this. Today I just don't really have time to go into the details on how this was made. But this will all be in this template. The next one is the bass raiser, and this is made with Serum as well. Another layer, and then if you put them together, just it's out there. All right, and then if we put it all together and we put it add the bass sub, this is just regular bass sub, made with Massive, and then I also have a 808 kick made with ES2, and then another 801 kick. I'm not sure why I have two, but there's a reason. Oh, just kind of give the tail, and I felt like it was just easier to control that way by adding two different ones. When you put them together, you get a real nice, good bass tail. Yeah, you hear it? Yeah. And then we put them together. And we put them all together. Cool. And if you add the drums, really kicks it in. All right, let's moving on to the next one. This is called the Hyper Growl. And this one right here. Really, another cool serum sound using a custom wave set. I'm not really sure. I can't even remember how that was made. It's been a while since I've done this template. But same thing here. You know, just really tweaking out the dimension and the hyper. That's really how some of these sounds are really getting there. And if we put them together and you add them to the bass, cool. All right, that's done. Now the drums. A lot of this was done with, you know, just resampling stuff and cutting them up. The reason why that one was muted, because there's nothing in there, because I was using that one as the main kick, but I decided to replace it with Sonic Academy's kick 2. Better. I just felt like I had more control over the sound and the tail and all that. I think it was imported in. I can't remember if it was something I was editing. I should do more. Like if I create something, I'm gonna do more. Just turn on the screen flow and just start recording on how I'm making that. Because a lot of times I forget how I do this, and I feel like just even going back and I'm like, damn, how did I do this? I can't remember. And I think I'm just going to start recording more and just getting it out there just for my own benefit. Anyhow, so it's kick 2, and then we got another second kick here, and this is done in the, it's with the Ultra Beat. If we play that one, and it's more of like a snare sound, I guess, if you want to say. And then we got this one, which is another type of snare sound. It's just a little bit different, EQ differently. And then we got this one, which says snare. Yeah, that's a really good snare. And a lot of it is just hats, you know. I just kind of did something where I'm messing with the panning. So each one has a different type of panning going down. I think, you know, a little bit. So if we put it in here. Yeah, also just something like that. You know, just playing around with it. Yeah, I think there's another hat in here. We got some shakers. So it's a cool sound. And then orchestra kit, another kick, I think something down here. So if we go to, I think it's something like that, and should be able to hear them all. So if we do the orchestra kit or snare roll, so like this. Yeah, and then this is where you get some of the timpani. Nice. And then FX, not so much in FX, just some sweeps and some reverses, just two of them. Something like that. That's all I have for FX. I could add more, but, you know. See, here's the thing that I have issue with doing remixes and, you know, everything is all about timing, you know, time. How much do I really want to invest in this, you know? Do I just want to point to where I just obsess over it, you know, where I start dreaming about that perfect snare sound, you know? It's just like, you know, whatever, man. You know, it's just like, just get it done. Just get something out there. And, you know, if someone wants to take the time and add more or completely redo it, You know, I make it available to them, and they want to hit me up and say, hey, I really like this. I want to redo it. Here's what I did. I'm like, awesome. Let me hear it. I'd be so happy, you know, and that's really what this is about. All right, moving on. And then lastly, I think I have a ghost track in here. It's just a 4/4, and what this is doing is it's just sending a signal. It's using, you know, this is utility here. And it's going bus 32, and bus 32 is no output. But that signal is basically being sent to certain compressors in the mix here, probably on the pads or something. I'm not even sure anymore if it's being used for anything, but it's still there. What you want to do is you want to have a section in here that's very minimal, and it's just kind of just maybe your bass and your kick, so that way if a DJ does like your stuff and he wants to remix it in a club, he can use the tail end and you know, mix it with something else. So it's just a So that's what the tail end is for. This is pretty much Witch Hunter. I'll put it up on the site logicprohacks.com, and also eventually upload it to Patreon. You know, if you have any questions, concerns, whatever, you know, just hit me up. I'm here, and I'll do my best to get back at you. Remember, my friends, be groovy. All right, see you guys.